I honestly don't remember the last time I went to a funeral where someone died of old age. It's always degenerative disease, cancer, heart problems, lupus, but it's never old age. As I read more and more vegan literature, there was this reoccurring theme that meat and dairy especially were linked to a lot of the diseases. When I was in my early 20s, I appeared healthy, but I struggled. I had severe pain and bloating when it was that time of the month. I had internal hemorrhoids, so I bled every time I defecated. I would constantly get yeast and bacterial infections, which is an embarrassing problem for a woman because you don't want men to think you baking bread down there. When I went vegan, all of those problems went away. And I no longer needed the antibiotics, the pain pills, the creams. That is when I learned the real healing power of food.
If you can eat your medicine as far as in the foods, there's no reason to take in a pharmaceutical, which has side effects. And the side effects, one being that somebody had to die or some animal had to die for you to get over acid reflux, when you shouldn't have acid reflux in the first place.
In theory, if you can start to eat better, eat cleaner, feel stronger, your body is taking the nutrients from the food that you eat and healing itself. Or you can just go ahead and drink your 9 Pepsis, and then eventually you got to deal with your diabetes, and you're going to have to deal with that till your foot get cut off. And I ain't going with the grimmest possibility. I'm just saying your foot go get cut off.
If what you eat causes your disease, stop the disease by changing what you eat. For example, if you have diabetes, you go to a vegan, whole foods pattern of food consumption, your diabetic state reverses itself. You no longer have a diabetic condition internally.
My dad had diabetes, and he basically weaned himself off of his insulin. Like, he just changed his eating habits, and the doctors kept telling him, you need to take your insulin, you need to take your insulin. He just changed his eating habits, changed the different stuff that he was eating. And Daddy, how long have you been off of your insulin?
Since October last year.
Yeah, so it's about to be a year.
So many things related to their diet that they would never, ever want to accept. Like, they just don't believe in it. Even to the moment you just tell them, like, look, man, the pork chop's killing you. Be like, eat pork chops. I've been eating these pork chops.
I would have African Americans coming in telling me, oh, doc, I've got spastic colon, or I've got irritable bowel disease. And I would tell them, look, what I want you to do is eliminate all dairy foods from your diet for 2 weeks. Come back and see me, and let's see if the problem clears up. And I would say that in at least 8 cases out of 10, the problem disappeared. There's a very strong association between habitual consumption of dairy foods and prostate cancer. It significantly raises the risk of prostate cancer, and prostate cancer is a major problem for African American males.
So what's going on with your diet?
Man, so the beginning of the year, cut out all meat, man. And it was going real well. But I relapsed. Tremendously, bad. But it's so funny because once I did that, as soon as I started eating the processed food, the fast foods, the meat, man, heartburn, acid indigestion, back pains, everything everything came back like immediately. And I was like, dang, this stuff is really killing us, man.
Why is it that dairy alternatives are not as available to us in our communities when we can't even digest it to begin with? The food that's actually available to us is making us sick, and it's making us unhealthy.
That's really reprehensible, because that's an egregious form of institutional racism. To intentionally harm the health of a large swath of our population so that industry operatives can profit from it.
was educating myself on fibroids. I Googled it, I talked to people, found out that 70% of women have fibroid tumors, and a lot of black women really suffer from fibroid tumors. There came a time when I said, okay, I'm gonna stop taking birth control. I'm gonna stop putting all this stuff in my body, give my body a rest. Well, in 2014, I went ahead and had the surgery and had them removed. But in the course of me getting ready for that surgery, and then even after, I was educated on what foods are iron-rich foods that I would definitely need because I was suffering from anemia. I was always tired, always cold. People would always tell me, eat red meat. Eat red meat because it gives you more protein. Eat red meat because it builds up your blood. I gorged myself on meat. I went off birth control. And then I found out I had 22 fibroids. And so I was like, okay, it was like a record scratch on my life. You know, I was like, this is crazy because I knew I wanted kids. There was no way I could get pregnant with that many fibroids. So thankfully, I was able to have the surgery to get those eliminated. And I just made a complete change in my thought and what I thought about food right after the surgery. I said, you know what? I'm not going to be eating the same things I ate before. I gotta live better. My body's a temple. You know, I felt like I was able to start over after that. I am thankful to be at this point to where my fibroids are gone. There is a possibility of them coming back, but I live my life trying to make sure that I give my body every chance in the world to do right. So when someone approaches me like you did about eating vegan or just introducing me to a new way of healthier living, why would I not want to try that? Because I've seen the other side of it. I've seen the intensive care unit. I've seen what happens when your blood's not built up enough from nutrients. I've seen all that, and so why would I not, try something new?
PCRM did a study looking at diet and menstrual issues, but specifically fibroids. And what we know is that diets that have a lot of compounds in them that stimulate inflammatory hormones and compounds within our bodies increase the risk of developing fibroids and or the severity of the symptoms that are associated with having them. And again, animal foods are the leading culprit in that regard because they stimulate the growth of fibroids and also make them much more painful and symptomatic if a woman develops them.
So after learning all this stuff, my question was, if a plant-based vegan diet is scientifically proven to be healthier for you and prevent diseases, why aren't our doctors giving us this information?
50 years of research have told us that plant-based foods are healthiest. So you're not going to hear that from your doctor, and the reason that you're not is because doctors get 4 hours or fewer of nutrition in their entire 4 years of medical school, if they get it at all.
In Western medicine, we operate from the disease model. We are in the business of treating sick people.
It's unrealistic as a populace for us just to expect physicians being ignorant and having a strong financial interest not to tell us anything about nutrition at all.
We pay doctors through third-party insurances, and those insurance companies will pay me to prescribe a drug to you, but they won't pay me to sit and talk to you for a half an hour to an hour about changing your diet.
There's a lot of people who buy into the standard U.S. Western medical science, and I think our community deserves better than that, and we need a holistic approach. So when I see people of color repping the holistic, then it gets interesting.
The entire medical industrial complex, ranging from the insurance companies, the hospitals, they all have an interest in the population as a whole continuing on and advancing the nutricidal pattern of food consumption that we have.
It is popular in the mainstream vegan movement to actually promote veganism as a cure-all, making people feel as if it's the individual's responsibility to take control of their health, and it really ignores a lot of the systemic factors that actually make it difficult for a lot of people to come to the health or the harmony that they need.
Kaiser Permanente is finally endorsing a plant-based diet for optimum health. So the more light that we shed on these issues, the more we force the powers that be to come clean.